week one, I felt better. And this, I believe, was because the um, the withdrawals stopped because I started reflecting on this and it was like, well, every day I was having withdrawal from Xanax because I'm going through 6-hour cycles and then dropping off and like starting to have withdrawal from this, you know, medications. So I was already being tortured by withdrawal symptoms every single day, which is how this whole process got started. Because I finally figured out, after my doctor kept medicating this symptom and that symptom and the other symptom, that nothing was getting any better. Every medication made me sleepier and tireder and more depressed. And I needed to get off of the true tranquilizer, and I didn't know about the withdrawal until my son told me about this research he had run into. And then I started realizing that that was what was happening to me. So the first thing that happened was I started feeling better because those withdrawals stopped. It took about 2 or 3 days, and my understanding is that's about how long it takes for the Valium to get in your system and really stick around. And so I stopped having headaches every afternoon. I started sleeping better. I wasn't not sleeping before, but it was just I started having a different quality of sleep. I started sleeping and dreaming better. It was like, I don't know how to explain dreaming better, but it was almost like I was going into a deeper REM sleep. And let's see. But week 3, when I got a really bad migraine that lasted about 3 days, and I was thinking, oh, okay, because this was when I was going to try to do my last cut or my last crossover. And I just thought, no way. So I was starting to have just sort of background anxiety running. And just this voice in my head, just like, just really negative voice. When I had PTSD, that's actually when I got put on the Xanax. The worst thing is going to happen. It's probably going to happen now. It's like, better get ready. And then my energy starts getting pumped up and my heart starts beating faster. And I'm like, oh, something bad's going to happen. And I started having that whole issue starting. And I'm thinking, okay, that's not what I'm doing this for to like recreate all the symptoms I started this medication for. So I really need to slow this down. A lot more, started the nausea, started getting dizzy. Like if I would turn my head, I would feel like my head would spin. It would be like my head would stop, but it felt like it would keep going. And I talked to my son about this, and he goes, yeah, those are all symptoms. Yeah, that's pretty standard. So it's like, I knew this, but it was really kind of comforting to hear someone else say, yeah, that happened to me. I was not steady on my feet. I started tripping over my feet. If I get up out of a chair, I would kind of like trip, before I could get my balance, and the tiredness was just out of control. So, and also, solving problems was just about impossible. It was like, only everything seemed like a problem. It was like, what, make an appointment? My puppy needed to go to the vet, and it was like, call the vet on the phone? Really? Oh my God, I can't do that. And I wanted to change vets, and then it was like, oh my God, that's just too much. I can't do that. I can't think about that. I just, no, and so I kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, and everything seemed just absolutely unsolvable. And it was scary. In fact, at times it still is. It's like the amount of energy it takes me to figure something out is it's pretty debilitating, really. I'm like, if I get any more tired, I'm just going to have to go somewhere, and I don't know. I mean, I'm just going to have to hire somebody to take care of my stuff or something, because I cannot get any more tired. And so I just opted to basically do my first cut as my last crossover. And it was sort of like, I can't feel any worse than this. But I didn't start feeling bad. In fact, I sort of like had just a tiny little bit more consciousness. And I thought, okay, good. And I stayed there for 13 days, and then I cut by another quarter. I think that's something like it's around 6 milligrams. So that's less than 10% both times. And then the second cut, I had a little bit more consciousness come back. Felt a little bit better, a little bit more aware. And that was, today's Wednesday, that cut was Friday night, I guess. And I'm still tired, still need to lay down during the day, but there's something, I just feel like there's a little bit more awareness, a little bit more consciousness, not quite as tired. The really bad symptoms I was having on the crossover are not as bad on the taper so far, except for this sort of cognitive speech, math thing. But physically, I'm not having headaches. I was shaking during the crossover too. Just, not necessarily visibly, but I could just feel my body shaking inside. Yeah. I did have one hallucination. That was interesting. My eyes were closed though, so I would like to have had my eyes open to see what it looked like outside, but in my head it was very strange. It was like, I felt like my brain collapsed and then blew up. And I thought, this is really weird. I'm glad I know that this is probably just a crossover symptom from psychotropic drugs, and I am not going crazy, and my brain probably just didn't blow up. And that was definitely some sort of a hallucination. And it didn't, it was real quick, and it didn't repeat itself. So I thought, please don't start happening. Please. I would have these other flashes that would be just like my skin right under my skin, all over. I would just start burning, and I'm sweating, and just like, oh, it was just really skin crawling, and just wanting to get out of my skin. That was really bad. That was during the crossover, and that was very, very uncomfortable. And I thought about the people who are just ripped off of this drug, and I just can't imagine what they go through. I just, my gosh, I can't imagine what it's like to go through this without a taper of some kind.